Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about splaying, and is it really all that bad? So to start with, what is splaying? Well, in essence, then splaying is opening up of the arms while doing a cut, and it means that the sword deviates off its path or its line. So we've talked about lines of attack before. If you haven't seen that, then check out my video in the hwikum series talking about basic attacks. It talks about the 7 lines of attack that we generally have in East Asian swordsmanship. Now, the way that I was taught swordsmanship was that every cut starts on the line and finishes on the line. And back in my basic training, then that was what was drilled into me over and over and over again. And so for downwards cuts, then it's pretty hard to splay because you start on the line and you finish on the line, and your body likes that. Your body likes to pull the sword downwards into that cut. But for rising cuts with a two-handed sword, then you start in this awkward position and your hands are crossed like this. This is an awkward position for everyone, even for experienced swordsmen, because holding this position is quite odd. And so what often happens is that instead of starting on the line and finishing on the line with your arms crossed when going from a rising cut from left to right, then beginners like to start in this cross position and open up the arms, because this is a much more natural position. And so when I was practicing swordsmanship, doing my basics when I was a teenager, then that was a big no-no. You just did not do that because it was bad form, it was wrong. And so every cut started here and finished here. And on the other side, then this is a slightly better position because at least the arms are open, but at the end of the rising cut, then the elbow ends up high. And that's also a little bit awkward. And so, the cut started on the line and it finished on the line. It didn't matter if this was awkward because that was correct form, that was right. Well, now that I've gone away and I've done a lot of my own training, then I'm not actually sure if that's right form, and we'll get to that. But let's say that you're a beginner and you're practicing, then I think this is the right form to practice, because if you practice splaying and you don't understand good form, where your target is, and edge alignment, then you can start here, and before you've cut your target, you can start splaying and you end up just slapping your target. And you can't cut through because the back of the blade just won't cut. And if you practice that 100, 200 times in the air, and then you go to do your first Tamashigiri and you splay, you'll just whack away your target. It just won't cut properly. So why do I say splaying is not that bad? Well, I think that if you understand where your target is, then starting from here, cutting and finishing on the line, then there's a few things you can do from here. You can go into a downwards cut like that, but if you want to go straight into the downwards cut, then from here, the sword has to turn, there's an awkward pause, and then you cut through, it's doable, but it's an awkward motion. So here I think splaying actually works in your favor, because you can start here, you can cut through your target, so you're past your target now, and then you splay, and you're straight away ready to go into that downwards cut. It's a lot quicker, it's a much faster motion. And on the other side as well, then cut, splay, into the downwards cut. Now, should you splay on every rising cut? No, I don't think so, because going from rising cut into rising cut, then there isn't a need to splay, and having that good edge alignment all the way through means that even if the target moves, you can still cut it, even if it wasn't where you thought it would be. So I think that practicing the basics of your rising cuts without doing splaying is the right way to practice. And then as you get more advanced and you start practicing combos from rising cuts into downwards cuts, then you can practice splaying. As long as you understand where your target is and you visualize it very clearly so that you know that you've had the right edge alignment and acceleration through the target, and then you splay, so you don't splay before the target. So I hope that was interesting, and just to show you that splaying does work, then I've done some Tamashigiri both without splaying and with splaying. As you can see, then both ways you can cut through the target. And with splaying, then you can go from the rising cut straight into the downwards cut very quickly, very effectively. So I hope you liked that, I hope you learned something today, and with that, I'll see you next time.